Hey guys, so there was a pretty crazy leak that happened just a day ago, like 24, 2 days ago, where it seems like there was a huge document with a bunch of API references, references to a bunch of search ranking factors. Now I'll share the link in the chat, the description box here, but there's 14,000 factors. So this is, I don't believe this is I believe this is just API calls. It's not necessary. We don't know for sure if whether this is an actual leak because there was an article that came out from Search Engine Journal, just shadowing some doubts over whether this leak is actually from Google or it's, whether it's something else, or even if it's a leak from Google, we don't necessarily know if it's really a part of the search algorithm. It's more an API reference doc, right? But it does shine some very interesting points, some interesting things that previously we would have probably ignored. But let's take a look at it. So Mike King, who's like a big guy in the SEO space. I've read some of his stuff. I know there are some controversial opinions on this guy in this space, but yeah. So he's I think he was a the I think this is the article that people were sharing on Facebook, and other like Twitter and stuff. So let's just take a look at what what is interesting because there are a couple things. Uh, First and foremost, there are a couple things that Google has previously said in the past that they don't consider for the algorithm, but this leak suggests otherwise. So things such as click data, click information, Google Chrome usage, things like that, which they've flat out clearly denied using in the past, but maybe that's not the case. They've also mentioned that they don't in the past they don't really look at things such as domain authority. Now there's a caveat here because some people I think were a little bit misled, even according to this leak. They have this thing called, I think it's called site authority or page authority. It doesn't necessarily mean like it's not the typical one-to-one domain authority that we see in like SEMrush and like Hrefs, because it's a proprietary algorithm that they decide based on, I guess, backlinks and other things that, and then you have sort of a value. So I don't think it's the same thing. It could be a variety of other factors that make up what the site authority is. So if we just scroll down, I just want to get to this like majority of the stuff is stuff that people who have been in the SEO space, they sort of know about. Like this is stuff that we've been talking about for a long time. Well, not me specifically, but there are people who have been in this industry for 20 plus years, and just, a lot of this is just based on tests that they've run, over the last 20 years. And obviously you still have to run newer tests because search rankings change all the time. With that being said, the quote unquote basic gist is that Google would often tell us that they don't use click information for rankings. According to this leak, that's not the case, that they actually have several factors that consider click behavior on, say, the page, on the search results page, that directly impact ranking. And then so I'm just going to scroll down here to see. So they have something called nav boost, which is a big sort of the name that really shines out here, which considers like dwell time and CTR, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just gonna quickly see what else. Okay, so that was the big revelation there. The other one is they've, and I anyone who's done SEO for even a minimal amount of time knows that there is usually a small period of time after publishing content where you'll see generally like, hey, it might get some traffic here and there, but all of a sudden, like after a certain period of time, it starts to really rank well. And I think any SEO who's done any amount of work can tell you that, right? Google has previously denied that they actually have a sandbox. According to this leak, that's not the case, that there is likely a sandbox that Google considers when it comes to new pages or even new websites. And there's like a small period of time before it's really like pushed into the algorithm. You know, I think this is probably like maybe, we don't know the exact time frame of how long the sandbox is, but it's usually 1 to 2 months, I'd say. But again, so that's the other revelation we had. Google's mentioned multiple times in the past that they don't use Chrome data for ranking. Now, according to this leak, that's they use Chrome data, and I don't really know Like I don't really know. If I think about it, they had used Chrome data, but it's still a small. So I mean, I know Chrome is the leading browser in the world, but it's I don't know if it's enough to really make a ranking decision. But anyways, that's another that's another thing. Um, and so multiple times they'll like John Mueller will he'll say certain things that you can't really always trust, obviously. And I think what it is the closer you get to the truth, the further they'll push you away or misdirect you or whatever. Um, so yeah, so I just there's a couple other things that are interesting. So Twiddlers is another one. Um, okay, let's see. I'm just gonna quickly. I'm just skimming through this article just to see. So apparently, they have in the leaked document there is something to suggest that explicit author profiles are a thing and that it might actually impact search rankings. So um, I guess this is what they also look to determine if an entity on the page is also the author of the page. This combined with the in-depth mapping of entities and embeddings showcased in these documents, it's pretty clear that there is some comprehensive measurement of authors. They also have this demotion section, so where there's a couple things uh, that they likely consider when demoting a page. So usually it's an anchor mismatch, which makes sense. Anyone who's done any testing could probably tell you this. SERP demotion, so probably some indicators on the SERP itself that is likely to demote. Nav demotion, so presumably this is demotion applied to pages exhibiting poor navigation practices or user experience issues. Exact match domains demotion. This is honestly I have a hard time believing because from my experience and from my tests, this is never the case, and it seems like it's still working. So I don't know about that. There's something about product review demotion. A location demotion is interesting. So there is some type of indication that global pages and super global pages can be demoted. This probably suggests that Google attempts to associate pages with the location and rank them accordingly. And this is pretty true to my tests as well, which is one of the reasons with some of my clients, we're actually moving away from having so we have like a corporate page, corporate website or whatever, but we're starting to build out location dependent pages. So if it's a business that has multiple locations with actual like physical facilities, then we try to do that. So porn emotions and other linked emotions. So links overall still seem to be important still. And then let's see here. Let's see if there's any other interesting points. So the homepage page rank is considered for all pages. So I think this is one of the reasons why I haven't fully tested it out yet, but from what I'm seeing and reading, is that a lot of people are starting to like push more and more links towards the homepage rather than standalone pages, where the homepage is probably the most authoritative page, and it's a likelihood. Well, it's like probably an indicator of how well the website is just based on the homepage. So homepage trust is very important as well. Another really interesting thing is that they consider like for example like actually like formatting indicators. So for example, maybe a font or the font weight, something that's a little bit bolder, a link style that's a little bit more clear. They apparently impact the rankings as well. There's another one where it's if you have a really long piece of content, then as they sort of crawl your website, they start to truncate the content at a certain point. I don't know what that number is. I'm assuming over 5,000 words at least, right? Page titles are still very important, which anyone can tell you. Let's see here. Dates are also, and this is another thing that I noticed, is dates are very, very important. Content that's more fresh and content that's been optimized more frequently is likely to rank higher. And also because it's been ranking for some time, it's easier for Google to just push new traffic to those pages. So I think consistently not just building new content, but also optimizing and refreshing old content is a great it's a great thing to add to your list of things to do. Uh, let's see here. Video focused sites are also treated differently. So some websites have like it's really more video focused. So I think they have a different set of ranking factors compared to other websites. YMYL type of websites. So like health related websites, things like that. They have a classifier as well. And then let's see here. And I also came across this other this one guy just to give him credit, Andrew Ansley. I came across this document on social media on Facebook, and he just basically goes over the same thing that the article that I just went through. Apparently, he read the whole thing, so he has some other insights as well. So, so this is what he mentioned. If you take a look at this, image quality measured by clicks, usefulness, presentation, appealingness, engagingness. These signals are considered search, CPS, personal data. Uh, okay, so that's interesting. Like if you have images that are being clicked on, that could be an indicator. Um, okay, let's just go. Okay, so I'm just gonna read over some of his comments as well. So these are more sort of like what you should do rather than what the article, what the actual leak says. Based on the leaked information. So you should invest in a well-designed site with intuitive architecture that you can optimize for a nav boost. So I think that goes without saying. Like if Google does indeed actually use click data to track or to affect search rankings, then I think it's really important just to make sure that the website is well designed and conversion rate optimization is applied appropriately, so that you have the right things in the right places on the page. If you have a site where SEO is important, you should remove blog pages that aren't topically relevant. Which, I mean, yeah, the stuff we already knew, but I guess the focus hasn't really fully been there. I think we focus on too many other things, sometimes black hat or gray hat tactics. At the end of the day, what the leak says doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we still have to stick with improving user experience, et cetera, et cetera. So you can contextually bridge two topics, reinforce topical connections, but you must first establish your target topic and ensure each topic scores well by optimizing for all things. Because embeddings are used on a page by page basis and on a site wide basis, we must make our headings optimized around queries, and we must make the paragraphs under the headings answer those queries clearly and succinctly, which basically means that whatever is important, you should have above the fold, not above the fold necessarily, but as high up in the article as possible or the page as possible. Clicks and impressions are aggregated and applied on a topic basis. So you should write more content that can earn more impressions and clicks. Even if you're only chipping away at the impression and click count, if you provide a good experience and you're consistent with your topic expansion, you'll start winning according to what the leaks doc says. Irregularly updated content falls on the lowest storage priority for Google, and it's definitely not showing up for freshness. It's very important to update your content. Seek ways to update the content by adding unique info, new images, video content, and aim to kill two birds with one stone by also scoring high on the effort calculation metric. While it's difficult to maintain high quality content and publish frequency, there is a reward. Google is applying site level charge scores, which predict site page quality based on your content. So Google measures variances in just about any way you can imagine. So consistency is key. Impressions for the entire website are part of the quality NSR data. This means you should really value the impression growth, as it's a good sign. Entities are important according to the leaks. Salience scores for entities is mentioned. Top entity identification is mentioned as well. Removing poorly performing pages is a good thing we should all do, and naturally everyone should do that. If user metrics are bad, no links are pointing to the page, and the page has had plenty of opportunity to thrive, then the page should be eliminated. Site-wide scores and scoring averages are mentioned throughout the leak docs. It's just as valuable to delete the weakest links. Okay. Yeah, so let's see. I'm just trying to see if they have anything else interesting. Short content can't rank. Guest posts are better than niche edits. Score assumptions made in the absence of a calculation. Okay. Nav boost. Okay, I think the ranking page. Okay, so just maybe the last point here is like, what is a nav boost? It's basically our signal into how well a pin performs in general and in context of a specific query and user segment. So generally, the more relevant, I guess, content is, the better. Okay, so I'll stop here. Just the last two things I wanted to mention is that now, going through all this information, I think it's important to mention that there was a article that was recently published on Search Engine Journal, which goes over some of the doubts over this leak and where it came from and how authentic it is. So there's this Pedro Diaz, which apparently was an ex-Googler who used to work at Google. He's sort of pointing like, okay, basically says here, there's nothing worse than information without context. Also, there's no point in trying to explain anything to someone that only accepts that what aligns with their predefined assumptions and biases. The basic gist is at this point, so SEJ is basically saying our take about the alleged leak was, at this point in time, there's no hard evidence that this leaked data is actually from Google search and not related in any way to how websites are ranked in Google search. Basically, we don't have enough information to say that this is actually a part of the algorithm. It is interesting though. It is still interesting, but people in the SEO space are urging to take caution. I have some thoughts after this article actually, but let's just go over what people are saying. Like, just reading. So someone did mention a couple points here on LinkedIn. So it's from a deprecated code base. So it's apparently old and not used. It's not actually from their ranking algorithm. It's an API used internally, which I mentioned earlier on. We already knew most of the things that are in there, which is also kind of true. Good production code documentation with specified ranges and values. I see none of that there. And Google doesn't use domain authority. DA is an analogy to like PR, PageRank, which was Google's standout differentiator. I'm not sure why so much attention is being paid to these nuances. I've mentioned this before, like domain authority is completely different. DA is completely different to what they would consider like PageRank or page authority. But it is still interesting nonetheless. And it doesn't mean that backlinks are a requirement for the score here. But so this, so okay. Based on this, my point here is I think there's still some really interesting tidbits here. Like, I think a lot of times as SEOs, we tend to focus on, we do content, and we tend to focus on other things like, backlinking and things like that. But we almost forget the user experience is also very important. This is where I think we're at a cross point in time where web dev, design, and SEO is merging into one sort of thing. And I think like anyone with any sort of like, if you really want to survive in this market where SEO is changing very rapidly, I think you have to stop like thinking about SEO as a one-dimensional tool, and it's really a multi-dimensional tool where you use UX, you have some web dev experience, you understand SEO, you understand content as well. So you really have to kind of be a generalist in that sense and understand how everything fits together. And I think that's really I think that's where the market is going towards. So I actually I'm going to share a document that I made based on all this. Let me see if I can find it. Excel file. Okay, so I'm gonna open it up right now. So if anyone wants this document here, feel free to comment and let me know. I'll put it in the description. But basically, what I did was I went through all these whatever I can find through Google and like Facebook and these articles, and I try to just get a Google sheet, like basically a spreadsheet of things that we should probably focus on. The ordering number doesn't mean anything here. I will probably fix that. So this is a live document. As they say, I'm still working on it. But basically, in general, from what I understand, from everything we've seen so far, the main thing is focus on user experience, focus on content, good, high quality, relevant content, and focus on best on-page SEO best practices, and you'll be good. And focus on building links as much as you can. But I think still the most important thing should be to focus on user experience. Make sure that you're targeting the query, you're targeting the user base in a way that is good for the user, not just because it's SEO, but it's good for them. So invest in a well-designed website and intuitive architecture. Architecture is important. Regularly update content. So you should be updating content as much as you can, maybe on a 6-month to 12-month timeline for each new piece. So you should probably schedule this somewhere in your system. Optimizing headings and paragraphs for the queries that people actually type in on Google. Focus on high quality, in-depth content. So it shouldn't be too foundational. There should be some effort exerted on these pieces of content. Remove pages that don't make any sense. Like if it's not within your scope, if it's not something the website really should be discussing, then just get rid of it. It's not worth having on the website. It'll just make the overall quality of your website go down. Try to improve clicks and impressions. That's also not on just the SERPs, but it's also on the website itself. Like apparently, according to the leak, they take information such as people clicking on certain links. They take that information. So you want to have the most important links as high up in the pages as possible, just so we can get that link information. You should try to have qualitative imagery and things like that, videos for more higher engagement on the page. use schema as always. Maintain consistency in content quality. So you shouldn't have one bad piece and one good piece here and there. You should be regularly monitoring bad performing pages and decide what to do with them. Contextually bridge topics where relevant. Focus on entity and salience scores. Again, this is just taken. I don't really know. Like, I mean, yeah, focus on entities. I don't really know what the salient score is, what that means. I'm just gonna quickly, and this is again, I didn't. This is stuff that I'm picking up as I go, and this will probably be updated in the near future. Ensure site-wide impressions growth, monitor and improve user interaction signals, monitor and adjust based on click patterns, good and bad clicks. So you can use something like Google Tag Manager to track clicks on the website, or you can use like Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity. Leverage social proofs. Video content, I think, is very important. Move as many links higher as you can. So really the important links should be as high as you can. Bold and italic formatting to highlight important keywords naturally within the text. Increase time on page by adding interactive elements like quizzes or videos near the top of your article. Enhance your CTR by placing compelling CTAs and links higher on the page. And link author pages to their detailed bios and their social media profiles as well. Highlight author expertise and credentials in content and to enhance authority. Avoid reasons for the demotion, which is some of these ones here I mentioned. Emphasize the homepage, improve UX on the homepage, and put the most important content early. So document truncation, basically, if they do actually truncate content, then you want to have the most important, like even CTAs, like, well, CTAs are generally at the bottom, but you should try to plaster CTAs across, throughout the content and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, even if it is just as a takeaway, if this leak is really not a leak at all, I think majority of the stuff is stuff that we should still be focusing on. But if it is true, if some of these things are considered like click behavior and things like that, then I think it's all the more reason for us to focus on how to improve the user journey and improve the user experience. So that's the basic takeaway. Hopefully you guys benefited from this. I might have a follow-up to this video. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.